Hi, my name is Thomas. I teach a Flutter Dart programming workshop in New York City. And these days there's a big question if there's still a point to learning how to code, because it seems like AI can already do all the coding or will soon be able to do it. And if you look at the hype articles, they stretch the whole spectrum. On one hand, you have articles where people say, hey, I had an AI bot code an app for me overnight. I didn't write a single line of code and it made me $10 million. And on the other hand, you have these research articles that say engineers in a study who used AI were actually slower than people coding by hand. You have companies reporting that it costs them a lot more money to fix issues that AI has introduced into their code base than it saved them money. I've developed a Flutter Dart app and used AI coding tools. And what I find is that it's a lot more nuanced. AI is good in certain areas, and it also depends on how you use it. So I'll introduce to you how to think about it. In this context, I find coding has three phases. There's a research phase, a mastermind phase, and just like typing it out and making it work phase. In the research phase, AI is really good at finding things. Like it helps me find libraries, it helps me find arcane features in a programming language. It also is great at looking at my own code base, because a few months ago I wrote some things that I can't remember. Instead of searching for the code and reading methods, I'll just ask Codex. Codex is OpenAI's coding tool. And it'll just instantly tell me back how the codes that I wrote actually worked in this particular area. I also sometimes will ask Codex to code me something, and sometimes it returns code that doesn't even compile. It's poorly written, however, there are often some gems in it, like it'll think of doing things a certain way, or it'll think of a certain library features that would be really useful, and so I kind of use the code from the AI more as like a learning tool to get some good ideas and insights. And then it's really in the second phase up to me to be the mastermind to decide how do I want to architect the code, how do I want to design my methods. I found AI is really bad at any of the things that requires actual intelligence. And particularly, a lot of times code, you have to think about multiple aspects. Like your code might have to integrate with three other things. You have to think about usability, you have to think about security, you have to think about performance. And I find most of the AI tools, they can think about one aspect. If you ask them to think about the second aspect, they forget about the first one, and it just can't integrate a lot of complex things together. And so it takes a human to be smart, integrate things, clean things up. And then once I masterminded how the code should work, I wrote it out in my head. That's when I get to the third phase, where I ask AI just with pretty much typing out boilerplate code. The more specific and small the coding units are that I give it, the better it is. So sometimes I'll ask Codex, I'll be like, write me a method with this and this and this, and I'll actually spell out exactly what each method should do, what the signature should do. It's kind of like you have a really very junior helper doing work for you. Or other times it's just faster to go into the IDE and GitHub Copilot kind of auto-completes your code. It looks at your code around and your method signature, and it's pretty good at, like, if I have a very well-defined method name with a very well-defined purpose based on the name, it's pretty good at auto-completing. Like if there has to be a for loop that looks at something. So in summary, those AI tools can be really useful, but they're really only strong in certain areas, and it still depends on you to really understand what's going on.